Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Brenda Cowie with QualiWare, and I am joined today in our Partner Spotlight webinar series with Milan Günther, who's the president of Intersection Group and one of the co-creators of EDGY. So Milan, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Hello.
Excellent. We're excited to get going. I think we'll just jump right in because we've got 30 minutes and a lot of material to cover. So as people join in, they can catch up. And of course, we will offer a recording of this webinar after the session ends. So let's dive in. So maybe before we start, if those of you on the webinar aren't familiar with QualiWare, we can start there. QualiWare has been around for about 35 years. So Milan, if you want to go to the next slide. And we are based in Copenhagen, Denmark, which is where I'm speaking from you today. And Milan is melting in Paris in the heat wave. So an extra thanks for your efforts today during this unprecedented European heat wave. QualiWare has been around for 35 years. We're one of the original enterprise architecture tools in the space. We focus on EA, business transformation, business architecture, BPM, compliance, and digital twin. We've got a global client base of about 1,000+ companies all over the world, and are rated highly and consistently by our analyst friends like Gartner, Forrester, and Infotech. So we're really laser focused on providing business value in the space. One of our long-term standing partners, is the Intersection Group. And Milan, I think we just decided it's been about 12 years that we've been working together, correct?
Yes.
Great.
Depending on how you count, but absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we're really interested in the topic you're going to present today, right? AI and context, right? Because AI has really changed the game for everyone, right? And that challenge is that gap between insights and business decisions and the actions as a result of them. It's really widening, right? With AI initiatives scaling across these enterprises, many CEOs and CIOs are discovering that, their technology ambition might be outpacing their organizational readiness. As decisions are happening faster and moving faster than the architecture, these actions are happening automatically, and the architects are consulted tends to be reactively rather than proactively at this point, right? And many decisions are getting made on opinions or assumptions that EA data, organizational data could probably correct, right? And the enterprise is becoming a network of autonomous decision makers that have really major consequences on the business. So while AI investment is continuing to grow, gaps in governance and decision-making and alignment are really limiting the impact. So with that set of the stage, I'm going to toss it to you.
All right. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
So my name is Milan. As Brenda said, I'm here in Paris, where our first conference, the Intersection Conference, was happening in 2014. And QualiWare was already there with us, so that's why I'm saying it's 12 years. Yeah. Intersection Group exists only since 2020 because it's an association dedicated to enterprise design, but we have been at it a bit longer. Like the book came out in 2012 called Intersection, which is the name, we're giving the name to our conference series and our group. This is one of my hats. My two other hats are co-founder of EDGY, Enterprise Design Associates, a consultancy that kind of started it all, and more recently a software startup called T-Menu, looking at improving enterprise findability with AI. But today it's all about EDGY and QualiWare and how to combine them. So just to tell you, Intersection Group is the not-for-profit association that co-curates, publishes EDGY as an open source tool that runs the Intersection Conference series. This year brings us to Montreal for the first time outside Europe. We have local communities. Our biggest and most active one is actually in Montreal, but then we have all those flags there from the UK via France and the Netherlands to now new Austria into the north, and over to Australia and back to Brazil. So it's really all around the world now that we have enterprise designers, and we are also publishing books and tools that then live on platforms like like QualiWare and some others implementing EDGY. So what are we doing? We like to think that we help people create better enterprises together. We know that it's quite ambitious. This is why behind our logo you see our galaxy. It's a big effort and a big ambition. And that also has to do with our definition of what an enterprise is, and especially a better enterprise. So we think enterprises can be defined as a group of people with a shared ambition, and it's a better designed enterprise if this ambitious endeavor not only serves a clear purpose, so everyone knows why it is there, what it's for, what matters to this group of people and to the ambition, but also in the end, it is useful to the people that it produces outcomes for, like customers, partners, investors, suppliers, employees, and it also delivers on whatever it's promising. And you see here, this is a little color code that basically shows you how we navigate these different dimensions of how we evaluate whether or not an enterprise is well designed and get to that in a bit more in practice. So today, the session, we called it Accelerating Enterprise AI with EDGY and QualiWare. Recently, we have been noticing a lot of AI movement in the area of enterprise architecture. So this is what comes up when I Google AI enterprise architecture, and you see a lot of diagrams, lots of methodologies, processes, cycles. Maybe this is a knowledge graph. Maybe this shows you how to do RAG or this and that. And observing this, we noticed that most of it is about what in EDGY we would call the architecture, which is mostly stuff like this. So it's talking about applications and application landscapes, processes, and how to put AI here and there into these kind of process landscapes, the data that you might or might not have and might or not have structured in a way that AI can actually use to deliver anything, the infrastructure that it's running on, or the water that it's drinking, and so on. I'm not sure if they even go that far, but definitely the cost that you need for all the tokens. And all of this is very good, and like nothing to say really against it, except that we think, and that's one reason why EDGY exists, that this is not the complete picture. It's not the complete picture to actually make an informed decision how to use it, where to put it, and what to do with it. And I want to illustrate that with an example from Europe, actually. So let's say you are a consultant or a designer or an architect, doesn't really matter, analyst maybe, and you get one of these customer calls and they say, you know what, AI is everywhere. Can you help us find opportunities to put AI? And in this case, they ask you to find an opportunity to put AI into customer interactions. The company in question happens to be Intersection Railways, which is a company that doesn't exist, but it's a company that we use for all of our fake models and maps. It's modeled after something like a European, maybe formerly public railway operator that now operates around the continent. And so they are like, so we have this application and we want to introduce it. It's an AI app. It's called Pierre. Any coincidence or any resemblance are other French named AI models is purely coincidental, of course. So they say, let's just put Pierre. Let's just deploy it and see if it can help our customers as a trip bot. And you might have seen Chipotle did that. So you can ask it actually for burrito, but you can also ask it to help you code, for example, because it's actually just that bot behind. And another company did that, which is Eurostar. Eurostar is operating the trains between England and France. England and France and the Netherlands and Brussels. This is what I asked it. I asked, I would like to go from London to Avignon tomorrow. What's the best connection? What's the best way to go? And it says, ah yeah, the best way to go from London to Avignon tomorrow, follow these steps. Take a Eurostar from London to Paris or to Lille, transfer to another train, and figure it out. Doesn't tell me, you know, when those trains are running, how much it costs. It actually looked up that in Paris you would have to change railway stations, which is annoying, especially right now. But yeah, it doesn't, it's really not helpful. I knew those things before, you know, and it generates a lot of text because it knows the internet, but it doesn't apparently know really what customers are asking about. So how would EDGY help in this situation? Let's decompose that situation with EDGY. I have a customer task. I live in London maybe, and I want to do a spontaneous weekend trip. I'm using this trip planner product of Intersection Railways using my phone. That is the channel. And luckily, the company has a capability which is recommended trips. So I can ask it, here, where are some good destinations? It says, did you know about Avignon? It's a really nice town in France. Yeah, cool. Who owns this? It's an organization called Destination Marketing inside Intersection Railways. But it also, this capability requires some assets, like, for example, a scheduling system, a passenger CRM, which is an SAB system, again, purely coincidental, and a route planning process. And they have a shared purpose, which is we want to promote destinations, maybe other than the usual Paris and Amsterdam that people know as direct destinations, because we have a story going on that is called Make Local Discoveries, and that's what we are doing right now to outperform our competition and offer something interesting. Now, let's deploy Pierre here into that capability as an additional asset. And if it gets all of this context, what do people want? How do they interact with us? What is the actual product? What is the purpose that we are pursuing as a company? What's the story that we are telling? Who is responsible? What are their goals? What are the systems? Where can I get this data? What are the APIs that I need to use? And so on. Then maybe this AI deployment will be more useful. So this is how you use EDGY in practice, not only with AI, it could be anything else, but we have found it in particularly useful there because I don't know if you have noticed, I have in my personal experimentation so far, if you don't give it context, it's really bad. If you give it the wrong context, it's really bad. If you don't pay for it to remember the context, it's really bad. And basically what you do in EDGY is, which lives on enterprise.design, our wiki, what you do is you model that context, right? So you model what do our customers want? What do they go through? What are their journeys? What kind of channels are they using? What kind of products do we offer into these journeys, via these channels to help them with their tasks? What do we need to be able to do to make and offer these products? What are our processes that need to be run? What kind of assets do we need? And how do we organize ourselves to do that? And why are we doing all of this as an organization? What's our purpose? What's the stories? What is the content that we produce to communicate about this? And then if that works well, we know that the experience, the product in that experience will be a great reflection of our brand in people's lives, which is like the reflection of our identity in the people's lives. Now, what you can do in QualiWare is, of course, make use of the repository behind. So other than just a graphical tool, there's a database, there's a graph behind. We know that if two things are interconnected, there's a link, which is not just a digital piece of paper, but we can trace that link. We can say, this depends on that. This works into that. These people are responsible for that, and so on and so on. So you can store these models. They are graphical models, but they have the semantic implementation behind. And then, of course, you can already, while you model, you can talk to our new friends here, can be the American friends, European friends, open source friends, doesn't really matter so much actually, as long as they get the context, as long as they know what are we talking about, what do we want, who is this for, and how can we translate from one perspective in the other? And if I change something here, what does it mean there? And so we have been experimenting quite a bit with this. And I want to illustrate that with another example, which is also more from my personal life. I really like parrots. I had one when I was a kid. I would like to have like some, again, maybe not this one, because it's a challenging one. You see, it's very cuddly, but this bird is 1 meter in total long, and so it's quite the challenge. And so in our experimentation with QualiWare and EDGY, we used this as a test case. Let's say we want to know what happens if we just let it model an EDGY task map. So what do people want to do and want to achieve if they take on this task, maybe because their kids or someone in the family persuaded them. We want to adopt hyacinth macaw, so one of these birds. And you see already in this book, it says pros and cons, care, housing, diet. It's not easy to make this a nice experience for the humans and the birds involved. So let's say this is our task. And then what can we do actually with AI and a repository behind? So we found basically 3 modes that work quite well. One is what we call the jester, which is basically the very early AI use case. So we just give it not so much information and we ask it to make up something, and then we look at it and we're like, ah, yeah, is this good? Is this bad? Is this wrong? Why is it wrong? And then maybe with that we get to the real picture. And that's already useful if you don't have, like in projects, for example, a lot of information about the actual context. Like an AI, actually, as a human, we have the same problem. Of course, you can make up stuff, but the AI is faster, and it can be actually, it read more things, so it can be more useful. It might, for example, know more about this bird than you and me. Then we have what we call the cyborg, which is we really try to enhance our brain, our collective brain with AI. So we give it everything we know. So we basically upload our knowledge, and then we try to have it help us as a helper. And where we find it's really interesting to combine EDGY AI and a repository is what we call the matrix use case. So we actually try to make these hidden connections between different elements of what matters to us in our context and try to translate between them and see the full picture and how things are interrelated. You see like all these little lines and things from the film. So let's start with the jester. We just tell it, create a task map for adopt a hyacinth macaw. And this is what it did. LLM with QualiWare. Zooming in a little bit, so it says, okay, here's our task by this parrot. What do we need to do? We need to research the ownership, secure our financial resources, so it knows it's quite expensive actually. Find a reputable breeder. Why reputable? Are there non-reputable breeders? Check credentials, visit locations, select a bird, prepare living environment, set up cage and play area. Evaluate budget, assess time commitment. It also says here, explore species. It's like, do you really want this one? Maybe you want a smaller one. Obtain necessary permits, understand laws, because this is regulated. Study healthcare, learn handling techniques, plan for long-term care. So there you see the jester is quite good. It's like, oh yeah, I know that this bird is big, it lives long, it's expensive, it's a challenge. This is your task. Already quite useful. What happens if we switch into the next mode and we say we are the cyborg? I'm personally coming from a user experience and user research service design background, which means one of my favorite tasks is user research. So let's pretend we did that. We did user interviews, and we have here some with bird owners, and we have here some insights that we were able to obtain. So they need a lot of space, they need to fly, they need significant daily interaction with their human owners, they are very loud, the proper diet is expensive, there's a big veterinary bill, they can live for 50 years or more, they might develop behavioral problems, they struggle with traveling or relocating, and so on and so on. We put this into a journey map with each of these elements in QualiWare, the specific insights associated, and we feed that into our AI, and we ask again, generate a map. Okay, it starts same overall task, but it says understand the needs of the bird, evaluate space, ensure social interactions, manage noise levels. So this is where then our cyborg, kind of what we know, got fed into the model as context. So it basically changed this model or produced a different one according to what we said it should put in there, which is already like I think this is how most people these days use it, which is fine. You can do that with processes. I just managed to or happen to do that with tasks. Doesn't really matter. But already this, if you do that with a bunch of edgy elements, can be really, really helpful. And you can just upload whatever information you have and make these elements or make these models automatically in QualiWare, and they will be better than the ones that are made up by the Jester. But still, this is just one element, one perspective in EDGY, the red one. We still ask, okay, what do these people want? What do they need that want to buy this bird and own this bird? What if we turn this into an actual enterprise design challenge? So let's say we are entrepreneurs. We are so fans of this. We actually want to do like maybe we want to create a like a rescue organization and get a lot of these problematic birds and house them, pet them up, and then try to find new owners for them. So we need to understand this task because this is our customer, these are our clients, but we need to design all sorts of other things. We need to design our product offerings, our infrastructure, our IT systems, our processes, our organization. So this is where the matrix mode comes in. So we try to use EDGY to navigate this space and to translate from one perspective to the other. So we take this model here, everything we know with our user research and everything, and we ask the next question, which is, okay, given that this is that we know, we know this about our customers and what they want to do. These are their tasks. These are their jobs to be done. What if we now make a product portfolio to serve them? So in EDGY, we go from task to product. And here we go. We need behavioral training programs for our customers. Actually, for our, well, we don't know yet, actually. That's something to clarify for our customers or for our parrots or for both.
Or for the birds, yes.
Yeah. Nutritional planning services. So we could actually help our clients feed them. Habitat, setup and maintenance services. Supply kits, toys, parrot acquisition consultancy, breeder selection assistance. So this is where it changes perspective. So now it's not anymore the customer perspective, it's our product design perspective, but it builds directly from the task map a product portfolio, and it knows, if we ask it, which product is serving which customer task. And we might look at it and say, everything is missing, this is not good. Then we can say, okay, why is it not good? Let's change it into something that we actually want. And then once we have that, we ask, what capabilities do we need to make up to develop in order to deliver these products? Okay, here we have our Parrot Care Enterprise with customer engagement, customer education. So apparently it was the customers that we educate, not the parrots. Product development, research, design, manufacturing, health services, training services, operational excellence, supply chain management, marketing. So the capabilities that we need to put into place in order to deliver this product portfolio. And again, we know kind of which product depends, which product requires which capability. And then we can go even further and say, okay, now let's say we want to make this an international empire. So let's build an international organization to build up these capabilities, deliver these products, and help our customers with their tasks. So we have our global parrot service headquarters, the sales and marketing division, the product development division. We have a European design team and an Asian design team because we know it's very different in those geographies, and so on and so on. And of course, we can again mix the cyborg in and load our org chart in there, load load our capability map in there, load our assets in there, our applications, our data. We can do all of this because we have a repository and we have a language, which is EDGY, to translate from one viewpoint to another. And surprisingly, a lot of the LLMs, let's say, have an easier time understanding EDGY than some of the humans that we have in our projects. And then, of course, those connections in between the facets and in between the elements, we can then also ask it to visualize, right? For example, here, this is an example from Aero, one of our authors, for a service blueprint in EDGY. So we have, again, a customer journey, channels, products, which processes across which organizational units handle these and deliver these products to serve these customer needs, and then which kind of IT systems do they need.
Right.
Or we can go back to our Milky Way ambition. We can go and make a Milky Way enterprise map in EDGY, saying, okay, we have the customer perspective as a, like, zooming out as a whole. We have, this is intersection railway again. We have our products, we have our organization, we have our capabilities, we have our purpose, and we go in loops, and we can say, yeah, for this part here, maybe we do some blueprints. And all of these elements are cataloged in the repository, and we know the connections, and we can actually generate these visualizations out of the repository. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to show. If you are interested in learning EDGY, we have courses, our Intersection Academy. Even though you're not an LLM, you can still try. It's a 6-week online cohort. We run it about twice a year. And it's certifying. And as I mentioned, this year we are going to Montreal. QualiWare will be there. We have a really cool space, Accès, which is brand new. 3 days, 7th to 9th of October. And that's it from me. If you want this deck, there's the link. And,
and anyone who's registered for the webinar, we can send the recording and the deck to. That's for sure. So we don't have a ton of time left. If there's any questions from the attendees, please put them in the chat. But I did have a couple of questions right away. How do you find, now I know the answer is going to be a little bit, it depends, but when someone wants to get started with this kind of thing, Milan, is there a suggested or recommended way that you guys at Intersection Group engage with a prospect, with a new client?
Yeah, I mean, normally, EDGY is quite young. It's basically a toddler because it came out in 23, so it's 3 years old. Yeah. Because I have been working on it for so long, it doesn't seem like this, but to me, but so it's not really well established yet. So one thing you can do is do whatever you do anyway. Like if you're a business analyst, you might want to look into processes. If you're a UX designer, you might look into journeys. If you're an architect, you might look into capabilities. But maybe you have seen today how these elements like interconnect and depend on each other, and how the other perspectives could actually help. And in that case, what we call now the Montreal method, because it's where they started doing this, our friends over there, is you don't ask anyone for permission. You just say, yeah, and here, by the way, is the mapping of this to the org chart, and you just use light blue. And this is how the capabilities produce our products. I asked our product colleagues to give me the portfolio. I made the links, and it happens to be purple. And you do that for a while, and at some point, people will be like, why is this red again? We had seen something red before, and we're like, yes, because we are having an experience perspective here. We're talking about journeys, about human needs, about people's tasks. We are not talking about the organization or the operational processes. That's blue. And so slowly you introduce it, and the other extreme, of course, is what we also see clients do now, is just get a mandate to make it an official methodology. And set up a repository to actually structure it very well from day one.
Yeah, Excellent, excellent. We have seen a lot of uptick in these conversations with the business architecture community or in a business transformation group, that's for sure, where they really see the value of connecting the dots of all these different elements. So I think we're at time. So if there's any other questions, we'll address them directly with you after the session. Milen, thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And we appreciate your insights. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya. Thank you.
Bye-bye.